All right, we're here, guys. Welcome to Beard of Darkness Book Reviews. We've had this scheduled for a while, and I'm just so happy we're here. I actually just got her book in the mail. It's so beautiful. How are you tonight, Laura Huie?
I am doing wonderful, amazing, actually. Really excited to be here and thank you. I know it's been a little odd talking to me under my pen name and normal name, actually, so I appreciate your patience with all that.
Oh, yeah. So am I saying the last name right?
Yes,
Huey?
Huey,
Okay.
just like the ducks. Huey,
Oh,
Dewey, and Louie. So you got it
there
right.
it is. I love that. Thank you so much. Cool. Well, yeah, like I said, I think I seen your book on Twitter before you and I had actually like messaged each other, and I remember saying that to you, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, whoever's marketing or something like." But I just remember this picture here being burned into my head, so that when you did tell me that that was you, because it was under a pen name, correct? CD
Yes.
Hauk.
Yep.
So at the first I didn't make the connection, and then I'm like, "Oh, there we go." So, tell a little bit first off why you did the pen name.
So there's a contest that opens up in May. It's called the Ink for Publishing Derby, and you can sign up. You get a cover. You vote on 120-ish covers on which ones you want to write a story for, and you have to decide within like a week. And then they assign out the covers. This is the one I got. Originally, it was just the Sunset Sovereign with the pen name, and I can't change that. That's what you get. And you have
Mhm.
3 months to write and publish and market the book, and you have to write at
Okay.
least 10,000 words. You get full rights on the book cover and everything. You can't spend a penny. You can't use your previous connections. You have to approach everything as new. So I flopped on marketing on my original debut novel on
Mhm.
The Unchosen, and I was like, I need to start from scratch. The best way to try to beat any of these algorithms and everything is to take this leap and try to publish under a new pen name and see what I could do and try to write something marketable like dragons.
There you go. Oh my gosh, there's so many people who just absolutely love. Like, I knew that there was like dragon loving like people out there, but when I kind of dove in even further, creating my channel and everything, people are freaks for dragons, and I
Oh
love
yeah,
that.
they love
There's
it.
so many different kinds too, right?
There's dragon riders, dragon shifters. There's the evil vile dragon. I know I definitely kind of come at a weird end being the extremely polite dragon, but
I
uh,
love it. It looks like if you're looking into like a fire, how that it gets kind of hazy. It just looks
mhm,
really. I love it. I love it. It's really kind of just pops, I guess.
thank you.
Of
I
course.
It did actually stick out. It was I originally did not pick the cover. I was showing the covers to my husband and everything because he was going to be the 100% support when I started writing this and helping deal with the kids and everything. And he saw the bright, brilliant cover and he was like, "Wow, I like that. I would love
Yeah,
if you ever dedicated a dragon book to me."
there it is.
And I just stared at it and I was like, I have no clue what I would write with this. Because that was the thing. You can't just look at a pretty cover and be like, I want to read it. No, you actually have to write that story. That was the different mindset of this. You couldn't go in about what did you want to read. You had to go about what you could write.
That competition sounds kind of cutthroat, like pretty serious rules as far as those kind of competitions go, right? No?
Um, I mean, it yes and no. I didn't think it was too bad. Some people were a little annoyed. Like you can't use book funnel, which is definitely a challenge to give out art copies.
That's kind of what I
Um,
meant. Like you couldn't put any more money into like
yeah,
marketing kind of thing. Yeah,
no, no
that's what I
money.
meant. Like, so you kind of just have to go in and let your work speak for itself, kind of thing. Am I kind of understanding this right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
that was definitely it. So that's why I kind of played off with TikTok and everything to figure out what on earth would people like, what was a good tagline, and what was a good subtitle. Because
Sure.
I was actually in Spiffo, the self-publishing blog off with the other book, The Unchosen,
Okay.
and I thought I'd help out indie authors and make a blog post about what are the books in the 300 books that are in here that have less than 50 reviews. I collected all of them. Mark Lawrence had a complete list of this, but I put the ones with the least amount of reviews up top, and let's try to get them ratings and everything. So it was called the self-publishing glow up. That's what I
That's
kind of labeled it.
I love that. It really just kind of speaks to what everybody really says about this community. It's very supportive, and it's just one of those things where I haven't ever heard anybody say, "Oh, I'm so much better than this person or that," or it's always let's just help each other and let's get to the top. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. So while I was digging through that, I realized that the book that I got voted, got assigned, The Sunset Sovereign, not with the subtitle, was a title in the Spiffle contest.
Okay.
And I realized I had to get a subtitle on. Unfortunately, this cover could not be changed, but the person running the contest was a huge help and worked on it. So originally the subtitle was up here when I
Oh
published
wow.
it. They said,
The dragon's memoir was up top. You mean? Is that what you?
yeah.
Okay.
And my name was down, CD Hook was down here and everything. So it was just a little confusing to read. Was it a Dragon's Memoir, The Sunset Sovereign, or whatever? But
Cool.
the a Dragon's Memoir just really stuck out with the idea
It
of it.
sounds like super inviting. It's like it seems cozy to me. It's like there a memoir. I haven't dipped very far into it yet, but when I hear memoir, for some reason, I picture like somebody telling a story, obviously, but
Yes.
maybe in what's the word that I'm like third person? Am I right?
Yeah, I kind of wrote it more in third person and everything.
Um,
uh, sorry, I just see in the comments. Yeah, as everyone says, Wakandi is a delightful dragon and everything.
wow. That is wonderful. Yeah, let me shout out some people that are in the comments real quick. Wow, you guys have already chatted a bunch. I love that. Hail to Laura. Thank you so much. I'm going to run through these kind of fast. Thank you for being here, of course. EC Greaves, my guy, he's always here. You guys, and they're always fighting for the first comment, right? I love it.
Gonna have it
Christopher,
pre-written.
go ahead. Oh, yeah. Christopher Brand says, don't start without me. Nope, we're here, brother. Joshua Walker, thank you for being here, man. I'm so excited for him. He's got some stuff coming out at the beginning of 2024. So he gets to talk about that soon. I can't wait to have him on the show. E.L. Montague, of course, is here. Hello, man. Let's see. Soul Free Wolf, another guy that's always here. I appreciate it so much. Oh, Steve Stark, man. How are you? He's up late tonight. He's in the UK, so it's like
Oh,
2
sweet. Thank you,
a.m.
Steve. Oh, wow.
Yeah, super late. Of course, John Douglas, my guy. He's been
Again,
such a
congrats on his debut. That orc book is just, I love seeing it everywhere. You're
yeah,
doing
dude.
great, John.
I've seen so many posts like John Morrow. Gosh, there's been so many, and I'm happy for him. I really am. Me and my wife were actually reading a little bit of it the other day.
Oh, good.
He's got his prose is good. I like it. Belltube, of course, Brian, man, thank you for being here.
Wait, should I get my beard on for him since he said get lost in the beard?
There it is. Yes. It's that time of year, folks. It is cool to have a beard in December. So I'll get to the rest of them here in just a second, guys. I see you over there. But I'll get to my first question. Kind of give us a rundown as far as the subgenre and maybe like a little overview of the story.
Sure. The story begins when an assassin's I have to read it. I can never remember
Sure.
it. Of course, I didn't write it down or in front of me. Story begins when a dragon finds an assassin sneaking into his lair. He tells her of his life's work and his soon-to-be final chapter. So that's kind of the tagline right away, and yeah, it's going to tell you it's going to be a sad, devastating ending. And I actually originally really tried to write cozy on this, and it still comes off cozy to some people because I do. At the end of chapter 1, he invites her over for soup after they've
That
had a fight and everything. So
that means let's make up, right?
yeah.
I love that.
And that was it's general fantasy with a D&D twist because this book is dedicated to my husband, and he is actually a dungeon master, and he's been running D&D with his friends for 7 years now. I think it is 7 or 8 years. And he always has the same character, Cecil, who is the main
Okay.
assassin in this book.
So that's something that when I have a little more time, like the guys that I talk with, the Beard Apocalypse guys, the Beardsmen, they've been playing. Most of the people who I talk with have been playing D&D forever. And it's like I'm so far behind because I know kind of what goes on, but I just can't wait to learn more. I just don't have the time, like at
Yeah,
this time in my life,
with
to
4 kids.
yeah, to kind
Yeah.
of dive deep. Like I'm all of what I'm doing with like talking to you guys is wonderful. It makes me so happy. But like that's the extent. But I'm so
Mhm.
pumped to like learn more about it. It seems really fun, and it gives. I think it's really important as an adult to still capture your imagination
Yes.
um, in so many ways. I mean, there's so many ways that that's helpful.
Mhm. So,
I wanted to. Oh, I'm so
do you mind
sorry.
if
Go
I
ahead.
kind of quickly read the blurb? It's actually really short.
100%.
Thank you. So continuing off that is, for the past 1,000 years, the dragon Vikandi has watched the people of Vecford grow from a wandering band of refugees to a glorious city of art and magic. Under his protection, the city has survived monsters, floods, and wars, all without building an army, a dam, or even a wall. But time changes everything, and now the citizens of his beloved city want him dead. Vikandi spends his last day telling his assassin why he loves them all and why it's his time to die.
Mm, that's promising. I love that. So, what would you say the subgenre is? Is it epic fantasy? Is it high fantasy?
No, if I had a, I wouldn't even consider it. I mean, I do have orcs and I do have dwarves. I don't have elves, but I have fire breathing monsters. I have ice breathing monsters. Actually, I have werecats. I
Oh,
make that.
nice.
I do make dad jokes. Just a heads up. I actually referenced the musical Cats when I said what happened to the music of Vac Forward. Well, it all got destroyed when a band of cats showed up.
You know, I wish I was just like 2 or 3 years older because I remember as a kid seeing those commercials for cats.
Hmm.
But they stopped the Broadway, I think, just in time for me not to have many memories of it. But I do
Yeah,
remember the '90s commercials. I
I'm
do.
actually the same age as you, so I know 100% what you're talking about.
Oh, wonderful! I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome to know. I wanted to shout out some more people real quick. Case and Shelf, thank you for being here. Steve, I'm so excited to read his huge novel. I was just talking to
Wings of Estroth.
yes, to Jane Patricia Anderson, who's here as well, and it really has excited me to read that. Um, Chris Navo just did his live tonight. It was really I caught the end of it, but everything him and the
Yeah.
what is it, Fantasy Awash and Bards and Books. I love both of their channels, so that was really good, Chris. And really, anything you do is so fun. Ryan Skeffington, you said, oh, sorry, that was out of context. I do that from time to time. I'll click like a random comment and I won't read it before I put it up. Um, so, what was your inspiration behind starting this novel in particular? When did you know you knew what this you wanted this book to be about?
When it got after I got the correct novel, because they actually assigned me my like 78th selection, and they were just bragging about how no one had less than their 10th selection, and I was like, I don't know what this is in my email. I had
Hmm.
an alien sci-fi book, and I do dabble a little on sci-fi, but it's definitely more fantasy sci-fi.
Okay,
Um, so when this finally showed up, I had like a breath of relief. We moved. We have two little kids, and the move was not easy for them. And
sure,
it wasn't easy for anyone. We moved across states and everything, so trying to adjust was a challenge. And you learn how to kind of like control your temper and control your temper because they don't know better,
sure,
and they don't even
absolutely.
know how to express their emotions at that young of an age. I mean, I had a 1 year old.
Yeah, and that's hard anyway. Like even with no kids, like moving is one of those things I told my wife when I first got we've moved a few times. I'm like, look, there's a list of like 2 or 3 things that I hate the most. Moving is on that top 3 list. I hate moving. I absolutely hate that and trying to work on like a newer car. I can work on an older car. Those newer ones with like all the fancy gadgets, it's not for me.
Yeah, no. So it was just that started making the mindset of what on earth, and I was fearing of certain things that I would pass down to my kids if I behaved a certain way, and then the cycle would pass on. And that kind of started clicking something with this dragon. Originally, I had this thought of this dragon ruining a sovereign's domain, but then I started thinking, what if the dragon's a sovereign? what if he's like, if you pull him out and make him, I mean, dragons are generally, they live for thousands of years. Make him this a super knowledgeable being compared to us pitiful humans, orcs, and dwarves. What
Right.
does he see that change and how slow they are to progress? And that was kind of the original thing. Because, I mean, how many times I told my kid, go wash your hands after you use
Mm,
the bathroom? I am still
yeah.
telling it. It's been a year later, by the way, guys.
You find yourself repeating so many things. Like, believe me, you're not alone in that.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
our
yeah.
kids are the same, right?
And they'll learn one day. Randomly clicks. And
Right.
that's kind of where the mindset came from. What if a dragon was yelling at these people he rescued one night, going, "Could you just build a wall? Like, so I don't have to save you every time? Could you just put it right there around it?"
Love that. I love it.
And that's where
It
the
seems like
idea
that's deep
originated.
seated for you. Like, when did you find your love for, well, not necessarily writing, but like, when did you start reading?
I've been obsessed with reading.
Like,
My
young?
mom is a writer, actually. She's a
Oh,
published
wow.
author too. She writes romance. And I think that's where my rebel side comes in. I don't like romance. I cannot write romance.
Mm-mm.
If I come across it at any part of the book, my face does this, the whole,
Like,
and I'll
really?
start
Mhm.
skipping it. I just,
Yeah.
it's not for me,
Sure.
which is fine. It's a huge market. People love it and adore it. And I think it's because my mom was like, "So where's your boyfriend?" Like growing up.
Yeah, yeah. It's like one of those things that you kind of maybe in your head was like, she loves that kind of stuff, and as a rebel child, maybe I'm not going to.
Yeah, and I hate the color pink, and now I have a son that's obsessed with color pink. Pink
Yeah.
everything. I've even colored his hair pink. So
Oh, hey, there you go.
the circle, it went around
Full
right
circle.
there. So that I always was dragged along. Not originally, I was dragged along to my mom's writing meetings that would happen. She always met every week with her three writing friends, and then I just started loving because I met it at Barnes and Noble, and oh my gosh, I could read so many books. And when I
Mhm.
wasn't busy doing sports, I could just walk to the local library, and I had endless books. So if I couldn't finish the book at the store, I could go to the library. If I couldn't finish at the library, I'd start writing the ending in my class. So
Okay.
instead of taking notes during school, I was writing books just for fun of it because I was like, well, how did it end? What do the characters do? I want to know. And I would just start thinking about it. So that was kind of where my obsession came from.
I love that because it, like I was saying before, that's kind of like a foundational thing for you. What I mean by that is it wasn't like that for me. I thought that I hated books, and I didn't pick mine up till I was 29, and I've went with it ever since then. But you couldn't get me to read before then, and I wish I would have loved it a little earlier. But it is what it is, and I think at an earlier age too, it kind of helps your imagination to be better as an adult,
Yes. Yeah.
if you find it young.
Yeah. I wouldn't say better, just different. We come at it differently. Because some people that never tried painting when younger, when you see them start taking, just trying it for 1 week, what they can do, and how the terms that they come up with and the different techniques of splattering the paint, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And the same could be said about writing. They came at it differently because they didn't do it when younger. Like, as you know, I didn't go to school for writing. I went to school actually as a chemist. That doesn't cross over. My poor editor dealt with so many like over technical stuff and everything.
I
She was
can
like,
see that.
no, no. So my editor was amazing on my other book.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, so that's kind of where that stemmed. I even remember being in calculus class one time. It was like Calc 3 or whatever, and I was
Oh
sitting in
my
the back,
gosh.
and I had Game of Thrones, The Winds of Winter. No, not Winds of Winter. It was the third book of the series. Why I can't forget it.
I don't know the third
And
book. I only know the
I
first two.
was this teacher would pick up people's phones and steal them when he caught them being on their phones during class. He was really strict, and he would make you do
Sounds
math
like it.
problems. He went up and down, and he saw me reading this book. I remember looking at him, going, "Oh snap!" And he just nodded his head and continued.
Just like gotcha.
Yeah, he didn't do anything. He didn't call me out. Nothing. So I gotta thank you, Steve. Storm of Swords. Yeah, and he
There
didn't
it
do
is.
anything. Yeah.
That's probably one of a Storm of Swords is by far the most popular book I've heard that people absolutely love in that series.
Yes.
People are like, look, most of the books are good, but that one, A Storm of Swords, is by far the best. I've heard that from Mike's book reviews, a couple other people. So I'm excited to get to that myself.
There is only one point of view in that book that I was told don't bother reading. Read the first chapter or two, and then stop and read the last chapter.
Oh, wow. I don't
And
think I could do that, though.
I felt the same, and boy, they were right. I was so mad. I was like, I wasted time on those chapters.
And Ryan said something funny. He said, I can't imagine a chemist being technical, right?
No.
Can't imagine it. That would never happen. Thank you for popping in, Sam.
Thank you,
Hope you're
Sam.
having a wonderful night. And Tim McKay says, best teacher ever.
Yes, he was. He was actually really good.
What was the most fun about writing The Sunset Sovereign?
Fun was I got obsessed with, and I love my typographer because she ended up portraying the mountains changing with time kind of thing in the book.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I love it because the whole story takes place in one day. So you get to see the timeline pass, and the image of circles got obsessed in my mind. So like the first chapter, there's no city, there's nothing. The second chapter, there would be, well, technically fourth chapter, sorry. There's the first ring of the city because the city built circles is what I decided. They would expand outward. They didn't, thank you, Matt. They didn't they didn't do the grid system or what New York did with their wine and everything. They just decided to build circles outwards. And I just kept thinking of how cycles continued, how the people passed down the messages, but not the dragon's message of build the wall. And I had fun with that. During the summer, we had a vacation trip coming up, and I was so excited of this vacation, and I projected it in the book of I'm gonna do so much with this one day off.
There you go.
And as a parent, you get it. I was so excited. Man, I was gonna clean. I was gonna dance around the house. I was gonna take a bubble bath. I was gonna get all the writing and read 12 books. I can't read that fast. I really
I
can't.
totally can relate. I really can.
Yeah.
I wish I could read faster.
Yeah, and I kind of put that in the book about how this dragon finally gets a vacation and he wants to, you know, do all the things, but really all he wants to do is rest.
Oh, I
And that
can
was kind
definitely
of the
relate.
thing. So that was
It's like,
kind of the fun bit of it.
that's awesome. I love hearing that kind of stuff because it makes it, when I hear that and then I dive into the book, certain events are going to pop out at me. And I'm like, you know what? That makes so much more sense now that I've talked to the author.
Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of, like I said, when he shouts out the word dam, he's shouting out the word like build a water dam.
Oh, yeah.
So I totally have dad jokes in there. Everything. Oh, good.
I was just say when I come across them, I'm shooting you a message like instantly, like I got it. So that will be fun. I look forward to that.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun. I ended up trying the serial route with this book to try to see how that would work to build awareness of publishing it. And I got super lucky. Like, in the indie community is amazing. There was this author called Old Timer on Royal Road, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll give you a shout out from one dragon author to the next." And thanks to him, I got to like rising stars on that site. And
oh, wow.
The comments just came flying in. They're like, "Wow, this is so wholesome. Oh, I love it, Condi." And then everyone's like, "I need to know how this ending happens. I have to know what happens to Vakandi."
So while you're kind of on that topic, is there going to be more in the same like
world?
Yeah, exactly.
I have so many reviews on there going, "Can't wait for book 2. I hope there's more." I didn't plan for more.
Okay.
So the only thing I could plan would be this would be spoilers. I don't want to say it or anything. What would happen after?
Sure. No, that makes perfect sense. I think a lot of people are appreciative that, like, because in order to go into what you would further write about, you'd have to speak on some spoilers and
anything I say is super spoiler about what
Awesome.
could happen. I had a few people when they got to the war chapter, is what I'm gonna call it, because originally it was supposed to be just 2 chapters. It ended up being 5. When
Okay.
I outlined it, I failed outlining. I probably received 20 different DMs actually from beta readers, ARC readers, and people on the serial site. And I mean private DMs, not out of the comic going, I'll keep it language clean, but mostly it was holy beat.
Yeah.
What the
Yep.
heck happens? Please don't do this. And that was kind of my big win moment because I just felt like I struggled with the last 70% of any kind of book.
No, no,
Yeah,
that makes
fear the beard. That's what I should have said. I love
just
that.
say
That should be
fear
the
the beard.
saying on here. So when they get to that holy fear the beard moment,
There it
they
is.
were I knew I hooked the readers and everything.
That's got to
And
feel so cool as the author. Like, gosh, this just got to feel like the best. I mean,
it did. Because I never got comments on the Unchosen kind of like that because I failed at marketing, and that was my goal with this was learn how to market. And that live reaction stuff. Oh my gosh, guys, I ate it up. You should have seen me squealing and running around the house at times.
I think that's awesome, and I think you're right. I think if you are a first-time author, you're putting out your debut novel as a an indie published author. There's going to be so many aspects unless you've really kind of done what I'm doing with this channel. If you're watching this channel, or if you're like me and I get to ask all these questions, it's going to be jobs that are
Yeah.
you really don't know until they come up, right?
hmm
Especially marketing.
hmm I did not know about marketing at all.
Well, it's like, okay, I've written a book now, and the way people are going to find out about it is I have to let them know, and by that I mean marketing, right? So, um, I hear that all the time. That was the most unexpected, maybe not unexpected, but the hardest part of being
Yes.
self-published for sure.
And I definitely admit being on TikTok, getting the instant response about what sayings works best with people, and obviously you got to get the right picture and coloring background, was really huge to kind of know what would entice ARC readers because you need ARC readers. You're not
Sure.
going to get the random readers at all. Yeah. I mean, no, you don't have to make a TikTok. You really don't. Twitter works great, actually. Same with Instagram. I don't know about Facebook. I'm not on there. But heck, even YouTube and everything, you can hear and see what's starting to grab and nab people's attention right away. And
I would
I
agree with the
came out
Twitter.
with 12 reviews with release, which as a no name, no spending, I called a
Yeah,
big win. And I
it
kept
is.
having people promote it. As a To me, she's a big TikToker, like 12,000 followers kind of thing, and she still promotes the book randomly from time to time, and
There's going to be
that's
that too.
huge.
Like that's so cool because it's like a loyalty kind of thing.
hmm
You find these readers early in your writing career that I would say really represent best in this community. Like very loyal fans and just want to see you do the best and be
They do.
successful.
Yeah,
So that's
and
super cool.
stirring the emotion was one of the biggest thing, was learning how to do that. And I mean, as you said, a dragon's memoir. Okay, what does this mean? I love dragons. You're
Hmm.
telling me his life. I care now about this. And
Exactly. So, when was it that you found your love for dragons, or is that something that was it a first time love when you started like writing this book, or had you been really into dragons beforehand?
I'm afraid I'm gonna get burned here. I'm not that big into dragons. I
Okay.
think they're cool. They represent so many different stuff in fantasy, and so many challenges in video games and everything. And I love it. There's a game, Pillars of Eternity. There's a pillar dragon. Oh my gosh, that fight was hard, and took me a week to defeat it. Loved it. So, but my, but they were a thing
Yeah,
is the best way to put it. My husband is obsessed with dragons. Marrying him, I inherited 50 something plus dragons in the house. I did
there
not
you go.
realize so.
Good man. I love that.
Yeah.
Somebody I know. This is most people probably know this, but Ryan Cahill is like he's got lots. He's got dragons in his book. But
Yes.
I didn't know at the depth that this love went until he started talking about like
I
the
love that
different
interview.
races of drag. Yeah, yeah, just how
Yes.
deep that goes.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
man, when
thought
he
that was
started
cool.
comparing him to dogs, I loved it so much, especially like the border collie. I sent him a private message going, "I have a dream some fan heart will like have my dragon Vicani patting your good boy dragon." So
That's
if that ever
awesome.
happens, that will make my day.
That is
But yeah.
awesome. I love
Especially
that.
since he wrote like massive thick books and here I am.
Well, no,
Whee!
so there's authors that are wonderful, and I would say honestly, John Gwynn, Ryan
Yes.
Cahill, um, maybe a couple others are what I would like say are my go-to authors with those huge books. I know it's going to be worth it in the end. And then you've got the authors that write medium size or small, but I think that it will pack the punch that I think the smaller books, especially like The Fall, for instance, was the novella for Ryan Cahill.
Yes.
It packed such a punch, and I never would have guessed that. It was
Yeah, and that was
small.
35,000 words.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he did amazing job with that. It,
100%.
it I wish to have read like this story originally put out 25,000 because I'm like, I got kids. I only got an hour to write a night.
Hmm.
There's no, I knew my average typing speed and I wanted to give time for editing. There was no way I was going to get an epic done. Like I think the largest book in the Derby was 130,000 words, and that person
Okay,
writes super fast. And 3 months, that's pretty quick for editing.
sure. I like what Josh says. He
Yeah,
says
nothing with the
nothing
anti.
wrong with anti-chunkers. Concise and tight storytelling rocks. He really just said what I couldn't say just a minute ago. He put it in such a more clear and concise way.
He's getting ready for his book release. I love
He
it.
is,
He knows how
yes.
to write those words nice and tight.
I'm pumped for him, man. From what I understand, and I haven't known him very long as far as on through Twitter or whatever, but I can see that he puts a lot of love into what he's doing, and he's really excited and passionate about it. So good for you, Josh. Um, who were some influential authors for you?
So the number one influencer, and you could find me probably anywhere online if you go like, oh, this is probably Laura Huie talking away. Garth Nix. Oh my gosh, I
Hmm.
gobbled any of his books up. He wrote the Abhorsen trilogy, and that was probably my first love into fantasy hardcore. Like the idea, he made this magic system with the bells. Like so,
Hmm.
she doesn't fight with, well, she does have a sword, but her main weapon are these bells that she has across her chest, and she would just pull one out to deal with the dead.
Wow.
I loved it. And
Garth
she has
Nix.
to Garth Nix,
Okay.
yes.
I'll
Oh
have to
my
check
god.
that
Yeah,
out.
Aussie author. Oh man, I loved him. And TB Barron was another big one. He wrote the Merlin series.
Okay. Yeah.
As a kid, I loved it. I actually wrote to him once and he signed and sent stuff back,
Oh,
and
wow.
that just made my day. I sent him a little cheesy paragraphs thing, and he was like, "Keep up the great work." And I think I was like 10,
Oh, it was
but
probably the best feeling ever.
it was. I hung up that map, and then I wrote him again saying, "I'm still progressing my writing career," and then I got the same map back, and I realized what was going on. It was
So
his marketing team,
that's awesome.
but it was
Those
still
are
great.
two newer authors. So I haven't heard of those two. Of course, like you know this, I haven't been reading for very long, like
They're
5
right
years.
YA, so they're
Okay.
old. I mean, when you and I were in like middle school, high school age
Okay.
is when they
That
would have been.
makes that makes sense because I definitely wasn't into books then. As I was like,
Yeah.
nope. But Tim Tim is also into T.A. Barron.
Yeah, he wrote a
So
great Merlin series, yeah.
that sounds fun. I might have to check that out. And I'm equally as into. I think it's a marketing scheme, to be honest with you, because whether it's YA or not, uh, I'm picking it up. I'm not really going to go on that and say
Yeah,
nope. I'm not going to read a YA book or because I think the best point that I've heard is in the 70s or the 80s you didn't have YA. You just had
correct.
fantasy,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
they didn't specify it. So me, that's not going to deter me. Now I've heard other people is like if it's YA or considered that, I won't pick it up, but that's not me. So I love that you had some influential authors you actually wrote to, and they gave you a response in the most wonderful way. That must
Mhm.
have been so cool.
Mhm.
I'm thinking who would be that for me? I would say James Rollins, and I know
Awesome.
Tim McKay likes him too. But
Yeah.
he was one of the first authors that I was like, I'm going to read more than just one book, and he was foundational for me. So I can just imagine getting back like a signed book from him. That would have I'd been so giddy, you
Oh
know?
yeah, I was so giddy. And yeah, Hale, yeah, Garth Nix wrote Sabriel, and yeah, loved that book. Uh, I have listened, I've read it multiple times, and Ed is 100% right. There is, I kind of noticed it a little more this year when people were like, "This was too YA for me," and I was kind of like,
That's really confusing. Like, what does
"What
that
does
mean?
that mean?" Yes,
This is too
like,
YA. I don't know what that even. That's really. I don't know if that they may have. That's really vague. That doesn't tell me anything.
yeah, I was a little surprised. Maybe it means like the character is too unpredictable because they are young and they are driven randomly by emotions at times, which that's, you know what? Sometimes I want to be driven by emotions and go eat that packet of Oreos.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I can
So yeah.
relate. But are you a double stuffed or are you a
No,
regular?
I'm classic.
Me too. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. No double stuff. We're
No
going
flavors, nothing. Give me the classic.
just get the regular Oreo,
And I
people.
do love how Ed, he embraces the YA with his Daughters of the Beast. Like we had this whole talk, and he knows one of just how people think YA is a bad term. And it's like if your readers see it YA, why
Yeah.
not go YA?
It's just like everything. Like I love a really dark book at the same time. Like I love a
Yeah.
really dark themed book that may disturb somebody. But I also like those books where I'll give just one that comes to mind. The Legends and Lattes. I absolutely
Yes.
loved that book just because
Yes.
it was cozy, it was fun, it was a palate cleanser. As they That's a
Yes.
new one for me. I had no idea what that meant until I started my channel. But it makes so much sense. You go from this really serious, gritty book
I
into
have been
something.
getting that a few times on this book of if you want a palate cleanser between your epics, pick up this one or while you're waiting because it's just a quick 4-hour read. And I love
Sure.
it when people call it the palate cleanser or the book hangover.
No, I love that. I think that's an extraordinary compliment. Um, and I'm glad you agree, man.
The
Yeah, I
double
feel.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, Ed agreed with my whole YA view of YA. I'm glad other people view it that way because I think you're missing out if you don't really,
Mhm.
if you're just like, I'm going to exclude this from being a possibility, you're really missing out uh, potentially on maybe your favorite book ever.
Yeah. Yes.
Ryan, I can have some double stuffed every now and then, but it's just too much most of the
Mhm.
time for me. I don't know why. And then there's the mega stuffed, and I'm just like, nope,
Nope. Nope.
that's way too much. But yeah, that's fun. I love that.
I do have an addiction to Oreos. I will literally get a big bowl of them or just bring
Are
the
you
whole
a dipper?
container. I could do a glass of milk, but I can just eat the whole thing straight.
No,
It's terrible.
I'm
Like,
a,
I
I'm
mean
a,
the whole container.
oh, absolutely. I've definitely done that. And I'm a
Yeah.
dipper though. I definitely am a dipper. My grandfather is funny. He used to, instead of Oreos, he used to put saltines in his milk. Buh. Not for
I can
me.
see that. The salt and the cream of the milk combo.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not that brave, I guess. But yeah, he loved it. Whatever, grandpa. Um, but I love that. So foundation, you've got authors you've looked up to, you're doing your thing. Your mother obviously was an influence, right?
Yes.
Did she kind of help you through this process at all? Was she there kind of giving you tips?
So she is traditionally published. She it was adorable. She got traditionally published and she promised me she would get me American Girl doll when I was younger, when she ever got
Yes.
her first royalties, and she did. Uh
That's awesome.
I loved it. And I always kind of wanted to do something like that if I ever had kids that with my first royalties, I would get them something.
You
And
just brought back one of the most grandest memories of my grandmother. Sorry to interrupt you, but
oh, not an
yes.
issue. Not an issue. So one thing I did actually with my royalties was I took my oldest son, he's only 3. on the Polar Express train with the royalties that I got from Sunset Sovereign, and oh my gosh, it was the best moment. Remembering the joy my mom brought me with her writing, the joy that American Doll did. It was just super sweet. And so she was afraid to pull the trigger on self-publishing, actually.
Okay.
She was super proud of me when I finally did it. She tried to help me write my blurb for Unchosen. The problem is she actually never read the book, and
Okay.
she's a romance writer through and through, Regency romance too, not contemporary.
Okay.
So she's obsessed with historical fiction. That's her passion, and man, it's great. You can listen to her talk about all these random historical facts. But
That's
she didn't know
fun.
how to guide me on the fantasy realm. And she wanted me to
Yeah.
kind of continue discovering it on my own. But she will cheer me out. She will make little graphics to, she'll cheer. She just
Yeah.
doesn't know about that because, as she told me, they are very different markets and readers and how they behave. And she's 100% right. And yeah, she cheered me on. And when she was getting close to publishing, I bought her cover for her and got it done and got it made for her and everything.
Michael's
Yes,
eating the
Michael,
Chips
thank
Ahoy,
you.
brother. Look at you,
Thank
man.
you.
I love that.
But yeah, so she was a big influence. When I wrote a small short story to try to enter a contest, she helped it out, and her reader group gave opinions and everything. They were a huge help.
So maybe the people don't know, but you and I are what,
33.
$3 hours? No. I
Oh,
know not our age where we're at. We're both in Ohio, and maybe you're like 3 hours away from me.
yeah,
You're
about.
in
Yep.
Toledo. I
I'm
went
not
up
Toledo. I'm in Cleveland.
Cleveland. That's right.
Yeah.
So that's where you went to school though, was Toledo.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. That's why I got mixed up. But my grandmother stayed in Toledo for a really long time. So me and my wife, before we had kids, would shoot up there like every other weekend to visit her.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty familiar with the area, and I think you're the closest to me that I've ever interviewed. So that's cool.
If we never got sick this past weekend, I should have just come out, right?
Right.
brought
Yeah.
my
When
brought
we'll
my
just meet at the
minions of
Bob
kids.
Evans.
The kids would love it.
I would. That would be so cool. Um, Name a couple of. I always love the answers
Mhm.
I get to this question. What are a couple novels you wish you could read again for the first time?
Second, these are all going to be series books.
Sure.
Second book of the Horizon trilogy, Lyrial, because that ending. Anytime I start it, anytime a certain character shows up, I just cry. I
Okay.
lose it.
I'm still searching for that book for me because I would love to be so captivated as a man by a book that I'm just like, "Eh."
Oh yeah, and the dog, it's a female dog, and she totally introduces herself as, a bitch and everything. She's like, I'm the bitch. And she just
That's
says
funny.
that line, and I'm like, I'm gone.
Yeah, that's
Um,
great.
the other book would be Changes by Jim Butcher, book 12 of
Ooh,
Dresden. The
oh,
ending of
deep.
that book was ruined for me, actually.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Oh,
We were on a road trip listening to an audiobook, and it was like the next book's written by Jim Butcher, and it happens right out of 12 when XYZ happens.
oh,
And I
and
was
you're
the
like,
driver, and
no.
I froze. I was like, put cruise control on,
Yep.
breathe, don't wake
Yeah.
up the kids screams. Yeah, yes, Change is an amazing book, and I knew the ending of the book when I was on chapter 8, and there's like
I,
30 something chapters. It was.
so the amount of commitment that is weighing on you not getting that spoiled at 12 books into a series.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I was just because it was actually the current one I was on, I was just so mad. But yeah, the writing skill of Jim Butcher at that point was incredible. You were so invested, and I was looking for all the various red flags then when I knew the ending of the book, which gave it a different experience. You know, I would say I came at it as a second reader because of that, like second time read through.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that makes sense. Maybe you just got to enjoy the process of getting to that ending a little bit
Hmm.
better since you knew what was kind of happening. Now, how many books total are there in the Dresden
He's
series?
aiming, I believe, for 21. Anyone in the chat, please feel free to correct me. Currently out, I believe, is 15, 16 books.
That's incredible.
So he's getting his final war build-up going because
Okay.
he's in that last 70%.
I think that that's such a ballsy move, if you will, like to say. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Also, are each of these installments a standalone
Continuation.
as well? Oh,
No,
it's a continuation.
I would say continuation. Complete. Yeah, and Dresden, 100% agree. You would love Dresden. It gets dark. The first three are, I would compare it to like skipping through the forest, even while a vampire is like sucking the blood out of someone all casually. Like, meh, I'll toss him to the side, and that's so peaceful and calm to what happens later.
Wow,
It's
I didn't
very
expect
well done.
that.
Yeah, it gets very dark later. I loved them. I binged those books in a year and everything.
I haven't read, to my knowledge or my remembrance, in an urban fantasy yet.
This is an outdated one because it's an old series. He's really slowed out the release on them, but
Okay, I
it
think
it will
that
convert okay.
I will read Dresden. I've just heard so many wonderful things about it, and if you're on book 12, you've got like that commitment tells me something of how
Yeah,
wonderful this series must be.
yeah. Oh yeah, you got to read urban fantasy. It's a fun twist, and there's so many people pull in mythical tales from around the world on it, and
I
it's
like
just
that.
great. Yeah.
See, I what I love on the contrary is, and like say I'm going into a new book, and I really have, other than the Dresden Files, I don't know. I'm sure there's a couple other recommendations I've been given, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. But yeah, I would absolutely dive into that now that I've heard so much wonderful things, and it's kind of like sci-fi for me. I never thought I would be into sci-fi, and I'm reading Empire of Silence right now, and it's blowing my mind.
That is on my next TBR.
Oh,
Once it's up there. Like just reading how people are saying it's getting them out of the reading slump and the character growth and drivenness on that.
look, I'm
Mm.
like 25% in, and it is read like I have to say, I know this is said quite frequently when describing books, but it's very cinematic.
Yeah.
These characters, like, you just grow to be attached to them, whether you like them or you don't. And these really big events slowly happen, but it doesn't matter that it's slow. It's
Yeah.
there's so much depth to it that you kind of have to go slow, or else you'll miss it.
hmm And yeah, 100% agree.
I like.
Neverwhere, by the way, is really good by Neil Gaiman. Yeah.
Ooh, I have. Which one do I have? I don't remember. I've got one Neil Gaiman book. I haven't dived into it. It's a graveyard, like a boy's like raised in a graveyard. I don't remember the name of it. Anyway, so what are you working on right now?
Super excited about this. I was really trying to push it. I am in the last chapter of my development edits of book 2 for the series. Book 1 came out last year. Between moving, kids, sickness, and everything, it took a little longer to get it done, but I am
Mm,
finally, and I'm going to start looking for arcs on that. Uh, I have a long-term project that I have started outlining, um, just because what people loved on Royal Road and another app I've been testing, people really like how I've been addressing family fantasy. So I was gonna play with that, and I was gonna try to test, try lit RPG with that.
ooh,
I have a funny title called "Honey, I Leveled the Kids,"
oh, nice. I
and
like
I was
that.
gonna kind of play with that. So, and I love
It's a
like my
'90s reference.
100%
Totally.
90s reference, and my oldest son is obsessed with Monster Hunter right now.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so we've been leveling up his gear and everything just so he could take on the Rathalos dragon or
Steve
wyvern. Sorry.
Steve Steve says congratulations on being so close.
Thank you, Steve.
And yes, Ed and Beltube, Brian, you both got it. It's the
The
Graveyard Book.
graveyard book.
Yes.
Yep.
And it's cool because I think I read the first chapter. I always like read the first chapter of a book for some reason, just to, I don't
No, if
know.
it
And now,
clicks.
yeah, well, and most do, but even if it like super clicks, I'm still reading something like that's totally got my attention. But yeah, just kind of like an introduction, I guess, that I'm excited to go back to. And
Mhm.
there's illustrations, not like a comic book or like a graphic novel, maybe, but I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah.
You get this story at the beginning, and like um, there's some illustrations with it. It's in a very unique way. I don't even know how to categorize what I'm trying to say, but it's really cool so far. Um, are you reading anything currently?
I kind of just talked about comics and everything. I am binging Omniscient Reader, or Three Ways to Survive from Apocalypse.
Mm,
And I'm also that's kind of my webtoon turn off my brain after a long day. But that series is incredible. I'm also reading Daughters of Tith by Jackie that you interviewed the other day, and
yes.
been getting through that and everything,
Have you
learning
read?
about her different Earths.
Have you read her the novella?
Yes, Your
Wow,
Blood and Bones. Yes,
so good.
I had a message her going. I can't read your book at night. I'm a horror pansy. Like I have Sledge on my list, and I
Oh
keep
yeah,
reading the reviews, and I'm all.
it's
I might
awesome.
have to wait till the nights are not as long.
So the good thing about Sledge is it's like a punch to the throat, and it's not super long,
Yeah,
so you
yeah,
can get through it pretty quick.
yeah. So, and that's one thing actually about Jackie's book right now. It's very light, whereas Omnios and Reader is a very dark book. But now her book is big, but it's not the grim dark books that I've kind of been getting down into, and I just kind of I'm enjoying the general fantasy that genre. There we go.
That's what I'm looking forward to because I'm going to read it here soon too.
Hmm.
Dot, we'll go with what she said during the interview, right?
Yes.
Um, and I am very much looking forward to the way she explained it was basically it's very unique. She gave us a couple things that's in it, what's not in it, and it just is really intriguing to me. And it's a really big chunker of a book, and I love those. So
One thing, and I know this is not hers, but I'm a video gamer, and I remember
yeah,
playing World of Warcraft. Well, not World of Warcraft, just Warcraft, the original thing, and those
mm,
little wisps. And I cannot help but keep thinking, her people are these wisps going along gathering resources.
I
It's not
can.
even how they're described in the slightest, but just how the magic interacts.
That's funny how you've taken. We all do that though. Like our experience kind of gives us these little hints, even like oh, like I can remember some of my youngest memories, and I'll read something, and it just kind of comes back to me, even if it really
That's
has nothing
exactly
to
it.
do with what I'm reading. It's just like
100%.
just clicks.
Yeah. Um,
Timothy, wow, that's awesome, man. That's
do you
really
mind
cool.
do you mind highlighting Jim's where it was one find beta readers?
Oh, there it is. Yep. Sorry about that, Jim.
Yeah, not an issue. So for me, beta readers, I scavenged around for this book. Um, hit or misses. I had some people that were helpful and everything. My developmental editor, though, because she's a professional, was perfect on this book. Um, I struggled though to try to find development. I had one person who could not get through my about the author page because quote my job title was too boring.
What?
I was like, we're done. No.
It's like you know what? If you're gonna be like that, that's okay. You know what I mean? Wow,
I
that's
was
pretty
like
petty.
I was still a chemist at that time and I was like I was very proud of my title because I was no longer a QA analysis person.
That's one heck of a title. That's awesome.
Well, I'm a
I mean, a chemist is what I
yeah,
mean.
I was a
A
chemist,
chemist.
yeah.
That's wonderful.
So this book though, I worked with various serial sites is what I did. So I did Royal Road to try to get attention and feedback, and that was the bigger success was via serial. You'll get hundreds of eyes. Who knows if you get a response? But that's at the same time. If you're not getting a response, is the book clicking or not?
Okay.
Is it clicking fast or not? And that's kind of stuff you have to take into account. Um, Other places I found beta readers is just doing a call out.
Okay.
Is just please you'd be surprised how some people are. And you gotta pitch your book to them just like you pitch a query letter, just like you pitch asking someone to read your arc. You kinda already have to know what your story is about. to get these people interested, and you tell them that it's not polished, and they understand that, and
Yeah,
they'll
and
get
I
back to
think
you
that
fast.
what is it?
And they'll get back to you fast, especially if you give questionnaires. That was the biggest change. If you gave people like, "What did you think of this one character? What is the purpose of this scene in your point of mind?" Because some people tell you, "I didn't get the point."
Hmm.
And you realize you screwed up on that scene, you gotta redo it. Was there or maybe you should just trash it.
That's
That's a big
very
help.
valuable. It has to be, and I like what you're
Yes.
saying. You have to. Who I don't remember who I was. It was just the other day. Oh,
Wow.
Joao Silva.
Joel, yep.
He was talking about finding the right beta readers because
Mhm.
somebody he said it way better than I'm going to, but you have to have the beta readers that are really qualified to speak on what they're reading. You know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
yeah, I don't. I wish I had what he said exactly written down because he made it such a wonderful way. But I really liked his point.
Mhm. Everyone go back, watch the interview because he gave a ton of great advice.
He did. We talked for like 2 hours, I think, and
I
it
know.
was. I don't often get to do that because the kids were gone that day, but
Ah,
yeah, it was fun.
yeah.
Good to
So
be.
that's definitely a big help there on that.
Um, are there other? I just recently learned about Royal Roads, and I checked it out, and what a valuable tool that is.
Yes. It's easy to get lost in the white noise. I mean, you're just trying to get on that front page. You can get on there by recently updated, which you'll be scheduling your chapters at weird minutes, like publish at 38 instead.
Kind of like,
Just to,
what's the best way to do this and get on that
yeah,
front page?
yeah, you want to get on that front page. You want to get either on Rising Stars, recent reviews. There's so much on that. And that was, I mean, learning how to publish a book without spending a penny was definitely a learning curve on how to get response like that.
Sure, yeah, that would be difficult. And I think that competition, I guess that kind of comes back to why I said it was. I think
Cutthroat.
cutthroat was not maybe the right word, but strict. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a different mindset. They're trying to even the playing field. So, like, let's say some heavy writer comes in, Pirate Abba of the Wandering Inn, who
Yeah.
writes 35,000 words a day and has a massive following. If she did a call out, like, hey guys, I wrote a book, come get it.
Hmm.
The whole point is to see what resources did everyone discover and use, and we share this information. How did you do it? You could share this information, I should say. Um, how many books you sold, how many Kindle reads you did, what reviews did you get, and that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, and that's good information too. If there's so many people who are here for the same reason I am, and it's to further my knowledge to better do what you're doing, and that's writing.
Yeah, I am
I'm
an
so
open book. If
excited.
anyone wants information on how to publish, I mean, I could tell you how to flop a book. I could tell you. I mean, I've passed 100 sales on this book, so I'm
That's
actually really
amazing.
excited about that. So I mean, it's not a
Congratulations.
big success, but I had to come in with no previous contacts or spending money or anything, so I'm pretty proud of that.
That is very much something to be proud of. That is awesome. Congrats on that.
Thank you.
This is hilarious, Langdon. He says, I had a beta reader trash my fantasy novel because human beings can't control gravity, so it wasn't realistic. No way. In a fantasy novel? What?
Oh,
How frustrating would that be?
oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like that's the one. You just tisk at and move on. You try to move on, but I'm totally guilty of. I'm gonna move on, and then my poor husband will hear me babbling about it again 2 hours later. Like this idiot, they didn't understand it. Like, why are they coming into fantasy if they
You have to
don't
have that person in
expect
your life that you can do
unrealistic?
that for, right? You have to have that person that will open their ears and just let you rant.
Oh
That's a
yeah.
wonderful thing.
Oh, exactly. I had a review that said my dragon was too proudful, and I was like, it's a dragon.
Too proudful. Yeah. Well,
But
I think
okay, but
there's
that was their taste. That's fine. That's the reader's taste.
sure. I hope that there's been a couple things that kind of popped up in the community lately that kind of made me question some of the authenticity of reviews and people being reviewed, like just some really dirty stuff happening. Not, I don't
Mhm.
think that it's the majority, obviously. But it was just a little disheartening.
Yeah, a perfect example, the squeakiest wheel gets the loudest thing. You're noticing this because everyone's talking about how bad it is. They want to shut it down. Um, Amazon actually already released a brand new way to talk about recommendation books
Oh, okay.
already. It's on everyone's thing. It's under beta testing. You'll see it, but you go to your books and you can see, hey, here's your continuous series. Here's some recommendations based off other Vine or verified purchase reviews. They're tightening it up. That's their counter to what happened on Goodreads, which they own. Um, the Goodreads blew up. The problem, I could go into that as a completely different spiel. You will get the trolls.
Mm.
I got 0.5 stars on Royal Road randomly all the time on Sunset Sovereign, and same with the other serial I wrote. I write a science fiction serial I need to get back into called Off My Dock. It's a comedy science fiction with an
Oh, that's
AI.
cool.
And I posted on a forum, I don't know, I talked about something. I got a 0.5 rating. And then later someone's like, "Man, I just got hit by the trolls." And I'm like, "You got to just suck it up with the trolls. You can't control them. Don't let them bother you. The rest of the community is here. Look at that giant graph of everyone else cheering you on. Look at those people telling you what you're succeeding. Look at that. Not this little speck. Look at this." And keep
Right.
going. That 0.5 jumped to a 3. I lost it.
Hmm.
And I was like, "Well, thanks, troll." But
It's a very
I
real part of the modern review system.
yes, and that's kind of why else people say don't look at your reviews. I'm horrible at it. I'm addicted to stats, technical person. Hello.
Hmm.
And it's also what I deal with a lot with my work. And but you got to get someone else because then it protects your mind. They should give you like a write-up report of, "Hey, here's the things readers thought you should improve on. Here's what they love." And that's it. But you don't know what star rating they came from because some people are sensitive to 3 stars, even though technically a 3 star is average or they still recommend it. They just weren't the reader.
Sure.
2 and 1 is they're tearing it apart. But it comes down, the star systems are broken, and it's broken on Royal Road, just to tell you that too. Because if you get a 5 star, that's great. You get a 4 star, it actually hurts you massively. And anything below that, and you could give half-star ratings, by the way. You
Oh,
could do
really?
4.5 or 4, 3, 2.5. Anything below that will make you drop ranks so
Mm.
heavily. But this is because everyone overinflates.
Yeah.
And I kind of like it. The one of the mods on there, he's like, "I'm doing duck ratings now," and I like ducks, so
There you
I
go.
always joke about, "Yeah, I'll give you a mallard duck rating."
That's
Doesn't mean
unique.
anything,
I
but
like that. Well, he's switching it up. He's got his own way he thinks about things, and he's letting everybody kind of see that. I like
yeah,
that actually.
yeah.
Um, no, that's really informational because I haven't thought about Royal Road for a while now.
There's a
And
lot of serial sites.
okay, so name a couple others.
Ream is out there, obviously. That's a way you can make money. It's a combination of Patreon. I think Patreon is a serial site. There's a lot on there. The There is Scribble Hut. There's a new app called Euro out there. There is, of course, Villa, which is run via Amazon, but that one's very
Mm,
heavily romance.
okay,
If you're romance, go for there. That's not bad. But Ream will pull you in more money than Villa.
gotcha.
You could do your own website. Why am I blanking on his name? Author of Hyperion. He just started a
Dan Simmons.
yes. He just started his own little serial magazine and everything.
That's really cool.
Actually,
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Yeah, check it out. Grim
Yeah,
Dwarf is actually what it's called.
I have actually heard of that now. I didn't know it was him
Yeah.
though. That's really cool. And those are such little pieces of gold. I like to say, I guess. Bit like for me, I'm
Yes.
gonna check all those sites out now, and I think that's just another tool in your belt to, if not make a little bit of money, or
Yeah.
just to hone your craft.
Mhm.
Good deal. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. What's a piece of advice you'd give somebody that has never published their own book, but they're on their way to doing so?
You're gonna always want more. you're gonna hit your milestone, and you're gonna wish you. Let's say your milestone was 25,000 KNP for the month. If you're
Mm,
just on Amazon, I go wide, but you hit it, you nail it out of the park. But what if you got 30?
hmm
Don't don't beat up that voice, and do know if you're first time publishing, it's a hit or miss. I mean, who knows if you get that magic influencer. I wouldn't even who's not even that big or is massive that talks about your book. I mean, Christopher's The Sun Eater is perfect
Yeah.
example. It's been out for
Yes.
years, but thanks to Leo
Daniel.
and Daniel Green giving
hmm
it, and Mike even
Mike.
Mike's
Yep.
books reviews.
I think Mike was
He
actually the first. He had him
he
on a long
was
time ago.
he was. I love that on his recent video. He's like, I've been preaching about
Yeah,
this,
he's like, dude, I've been telling you guys this for a while now.
but
So,
yeah, it, you might get that person, you might not, and you might even have that person, but it was the wrong time. And as much as it sucks to hear that in the agent querying letter, because I actually tried traditionally publishing first,
mhm,
um, and they say this is not marketable at this time.
okay.
Oh, you die
That sounds like a
inside.
very uh what am I trying to say? Like an answer that I would expect to come from a publisher if um
You'll
that's not
always
marketable, or
yes,
hone in on this and then try later, kind of that thing. But I think
yes,
it's also really cool to hear about those attempts to do traditional publish or to attempts to do indie publishing, and you just didn't get there because you're overcoming these hurdles, and I think that that's the most human thing ever.
yeah.
So it's really good to hear those stories.
So as everyone says, the next book helps. And because the reason why you spread out your time that you're in front of people, and it kind of goes back to Royal Road. You're just trying to get in front of the right person who's going to toot their horn about you. And that was another thing that helped me when I was on Royal Road. I got a review rating on there within an hour of publishing the first chapter. I wasn't even ready to publish the rest, and
Mm,
the message said, "Bro, don't mess this up." Was at the end
right.
because they loved it. The difference of tropes, they didn't know what to predict from it, but that was the right person. I got a random review and a massive rating right there, and they talked about it.
Yeah.
How did I know that person was going to be there? I didn't.
I
And all
think that you're saying something very realistic, because some may go into, oh, I'm going to publish a book, and which is a wonderful feat, something that takes somebody very special to do. But there's also a lot of people still doing that and making that realistic part of things. Like it's kind of like rolling the dice, and if you love it and it's your passion, keep doing it. But also know these things too.
mhm. Yeah, and you just as fun as it is to watch those numbers come in, it can also be super depressing.
Mm,
And the best thing to do is just to see what did come in and keep going. I mean, as you can see, I think I have 4 ratings and some of my family and friends that are on this book, and I'm going to
mhm.
try to remarket it. I'm actually going to do little talks about why it flopped versus, and I spent money on marketing on that book and I just didn't market it right.
Sure,
Didn't
and that's aiding you now that you've had that experience.
Learning how to market was the biggest thing, and I spent no money. So that was definitely a big, yeah, as Timothy said, I recommend lots of scotch. Yep. Okay, I didn't do scotch. I'm an Irish person, Tim.
Whiskey.
I did
Oh
Irish
man.
whiskey. I've been to Dublin. I've been to Ireland for my 5th anniversary. I said in the one chat one day, I got married very young.
hmm
But yeah.
That would be so fun. I'd love to go to Ireland.
Oh yeah, it was a great trip. Beautiful. Loved it.
I
But
bet.
yeah, definitely scotch her if you don't drink anything good. Warm glass of milk to just continue on.
There you go.
Cheers,
Um,
Tim.
cheers. Absolutely. So let everybody know where you're active as far as social media and where we can buy your books.
Okay. Best if you want to stay up to date with the news of my books, my Substack, which is on the lovely banner right down there that he's got going on, is where I will be posting updates. I will be doing call outs and announce my books on Twitter. I'm also on BlueSky when I remember to post there. Uh, my Substack has all of these links, so just head over there, go to my About page to figure it out. I am also on TikTok. I have not updated my. Oh yeah, I have a little sticker. My character Cecil.
Yeah,
Uh, I have not updated my TikTok handler, so it is still at CDHook HOUCK, and you can find me and follow me on there. I just kind of post random stuff on there just to kind
sure.
of stay up to date. But yeah, Twitter is definitely more I'm active on the writer side on.
Great. Yeah, I think that's people. I've had quite a few people who were just like on Instagram or just on Facebook, which I think is probably, in my opinion, the worst of them all, as far as like marketing yourself. But once they come to Twitter, it really their marketing has been helped by that. I think it's such a good community there, that it really helps as an author or a reviewer, anybody in the community, to be a part of on Twitter. So that
Yes. Yeah.
I often can like try to convince people who aren't on Twitter to do so just for that fact.
Yeah. No, so one kind of little thing, because I saw Jackie's mentioned this in there. Uh, so Vikandi actually is Icelandic. His full name is Vikandi Floraldi. It means watchful parent in Icelandic, and she speaks that. So,
Oh, okay. Is that the context for this comment?
yeah, she was just. It just made me connect my brain. I jump a lot in my
Oh
brain.
no,
It's
I
horrible, but
definitely understand.
yeah,
Tim is a Scotch man. Look at that. Smoky Scotch got me through. You know, I haven't tried the smoky Scotch. I'm just not real big on the harder. I don't know. I like, I guess, some beer
a
or some
beer.
hard cider.
Yeah.
But it comes to
Oh,
like whiskey or anything like that. Sorry,
hard
I'm
cider
not
in this
man
area
enough.
too of Ohio. I don't blame you on that. It's really nice in here.
It is. So, man, this has been so fun, but I
Thank
love
you
this
so much.
question. I can't wait to hear your answers. Who is a couple or a few, however many you want to name, who I should talk to in the future?
I have two for you.
Amazing.
Okay. This one is specifically for you because I know you like the dark fantasy horror. And this is the author of Bringer of the Scourge and Daniel
Ooh,
McDowell.
ooh,
They, I mean, the, it's the princess who is predicted to bring the scourge to the country. And she wants to save the country, though, from her tyrannical father. And it starts with her in the tower. So it's a typical princess in the tower, but she's got demons,
ooh,
literally
yes.
demons, and it's just an amazing book. I highly recommend for just specifically for you.
Thank you. I like that. That's very intrigued.
There's also the other author, S. I didn't write her middle initial, but S. Henny. She wrote the Witch of the Lunar Order, a witch of urban fantasy kind of book,
Okay.
and it's another. It was one of the books I recently read. It was very light, quick read. I know she's reworking it. Both of these authors actually partook in Derby with me,
Oh, wonderful.
and this was their first time ever being published. And one of the authors actually works in the traditional publishing house.
Okay.
So her to finally, for them to finally take the publishing push was fantastic and wonderful. Yeah, the witch book has a great cover. That's a fun one.
That's I really love these new. There's so many authors out there,
Yeah.
and when I get to hear a new name, it makes me very very excited. So I can't wait. I'll actually, if you would maybe tomorrow or something, send me those names
Yep.
so I don't misspell them or forget them or whatever, because I would love to check out their work.
Yep.
Um,
I asked them for their contact info in case. I was like, "Can I
oh,
mention you guys?"
awesome! That's
So
wonderful. Well, I would just really like to thank you for letting me borrow for you and get to talk about your book. And this has been
thank you
kind
so
of
much.
planned for a while, and I've been looking forward to it, and it was so fun.
I appreciate you dealing with both CD Hook and Laura Huie. I appreciate that and your patience, and this was a lot of fun. And thank you so much from I'm certain all the other indie people here for giving us a space to talk and
Oh yes,
enjoy the journey. So thank you.
100%. I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm very passionate about it, and I really appreciate that. So I really appreciate you once again. Let me borrow you. You guys that showed up to view this live, and anybody who will watch it in the future. I really appreciate you all. And wherever you're at, have a wonderful day, morning, night, wherever you are. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, bye-bye.